So I think this is a very, very good question, and there's a lot of smoke and mirrors about the safety of raw food. I think it's very important that people understand that commercially produced raw dog food is under the strict governance of DEFRA, the government department that oversees health and safety in manufacturing plants, food manufacturing plants. So DEFRA have very strict, more than guidelines, they are in fact rules as to how meat producers or pet meat producers produce their meat. They do require that the meat comes from, is fit for human consumption and comes from the human food chain. They do require that that meat be inspected for diseases. They also require that the manufacturers of raw pet food randomly batch test their food for nutrients, but also microbials. So what I mean by that is pathogenic bacteria. So if Salmonella or E. coli or any pathogen is picked up on this batch testing, then instantaneously that batch is condemned. So that's important to understand, that there's a guarantee from the manufacturers of commercially produced raw dog food that their food, their products, their recipes are safe, sound and wholesome from a microbial perspective. Raw food, like any other food, can become contaminated in the chain, somewhere between leaving the factory and ending up on your plate or your dog's plate. Food being food has the potential to become contaminated if it's not transported and stored and prepared safely. So we're all familiar with the safe handling of our own food, and if we apply the same principles to the safe handling of our pets' foods, there should really be no issue at all. Also, it's important to remember and realize that, particularly in the case of dogs, naturally they are hunters, but they are also naturally scavengers. So naturally they are, from an evolutionary perspective, they are designed to eat absolute rubbish, you know, running over the park, picking up a burger that's 3 days, 4 days old, 2 weeks old, eating a dead squirrel that's been dead and got worms in it. Dogs are equipped to deal with that. Can you imagine a carcass that's a few days old wriggling with worms? Can you imagine what the bacterial content of that might be? But the acidity of dogs' stomachs when they are fed a meat-based diet is such that those bugs are just eliminated before they enter really the digestive pathway. And also, let's face it, dogs lick each other's bums. So we can't get too precious about whether the food that is being produced under DEFRA's guidelines is safe, sound and wholesome. Obviously it is, but these are scavengers, these are carnivores, these animals are used to eating contaminated food. We just have to be careful that we manage and prepare and store it properly so we don't pick up those bugs.